Hello there, booktube. Aaron here. Hope you're doing okay. I've got a little book haul here to share with you. This might be the last book haul for a while. I'm not planning on buying any books for a while, but there again, when do I plan on buying books is generally pretty spontaneous. But there's not really anything I need to buy books for other than the booktube prize and maybe the poetry book club. I'm going to try and be a little more intentional in what I buy and what I read from here on out. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, so there might not be many book hauls for a while, so I thought I'd go out with a bang. So here's the first one. It's a short story collection by Silvina Ocampo. It's The Imposter and Other Stories. I suppose it's more of a selection of her stories throughout her career. She's a writer I'd really like to get to know a little bit better. I've heard a bit about her. She was friends with Borges. Her husband was Adolfo Bioy Casares, who wrote The Invention of Morale. I read that last year and loved it. But I think because she had such towering figures around her, she was a little overlooked at points. So I'm glad to have this, and it's quite a nice, generous selection from throughout her career. So I'm looking forward to getting into this. And lovely cover. I love that photograph there. Then next up we have a history book. This is Byzantian, The Surprising Life of a Medieval Empire by Judith Heron. And I'm pretty curious about Byzantine history. I've heard bits and bobs here and there, listened to a podcast about Byzantine history fairly regularly, but I've never read an introductory book on the history of Byzantium, and Jason Harrigan was talking about this recently and gave it some high praise. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting deeper into it. I've already made a little progress, but yeah, I'm looking forward to getting deeper into this. And next up we have some Knausgaard, A Man in Love. The second part of his My Struggles series is a little chunkier than the last one. It's nice floppy volume. Yeah, I'm looking forward to sinking back into Knausgaard. I found him a very, very comfortable, very honest writer to be with, so yeah, we'll see if he carries me through the same way as he did in the first book. But yeah, at the moment, I'm looking forward. And then we have some poetry. We have W.H. Auden, Selected Poems. I have a very slim volume upstairs of his sort of selected poems, I think selected by John Fuller, and I just thought it was a little too thin for such a monumental poet. So I picked up this one, and it seems to be a little more generous, yeah, I suppose we'll just see how it goes. I've generally enjoyed what I've read so far of W.H. Auden, so yeah, I might squeeze this in at some point. Then next up we have Alexander Pushkin, The Captain's Daughter. I've never read any Pushkin. One of my aims for this year's reading is to read a little bit more Russian literature, so this will definitely get me on track if I manage to read it. And yeah, it sounds interesting, so I'll be getting back to you on that, I guess. And then some more poetry. We have Louise Gluck. This is a Verno, nice little slim poetry collection from around 2006. This was the only poetry collection by her that they had at the bookshop. She won the Nobel Prize for Literature, I think, last year, and I'd never really read any of her stuff, and I thought, well, I'd see what all the hype was about and read some of the poetry, and I've had a quick leaf through since getting this, and it definitely sounds interesting. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what she's like. But also, when I was there, they also had some of her essays on poetry. This is American Originality, and I thought, with her being someone who's won the Nobel Prize for Literature and seems to be quite a prominent poet, at least these days, she seems to be pretty prominent. And so I thought I'd see what her opinions and ideas are about poetry and about other poets. So again, I love reading what poets have to say about other poets and about the process of writing and reading. So we'll see how this goes as well. And then finally we have Albert Camus. This is a nice, generous Everyman's Library sort of selection of his writings. It has The Plague, The Fall, Exile and the Kingdom, and then some of his essays. I think it's got The Myth of Sisyphus and what's the other one in there? The Myth of Sisyphus and Reflections on the Guillotine. And I read The Outsider earlier this month and was really impressed with it. I think he's a writer who's going to be quite up there for me, and I just saw this in the bookshop and just couldn't really resist it. And who can resist that face as well? Yeah, so there we go. There's some Albert Camus. So let's see if I can make a little stack. So Albert Camus, some selected writings. We have Louise Gluck, American Originality, and also her poetry collection Averno. We have Alexander Pushkin, the Captain's Daughter. Doing like an over and under here. There we go. Then we have W.H. Auden's selected poems. We have Knausgaard's A Man in Love. Oh dear, is this going to fall? I don't think it's going to fall. This is not the way to hold books. Then we have Judith Heron's Byzantian. And then finally we have Silvina Ocampo's The Imposter and Other Stories. So there we go, nice generous stack of books. We'll see how it goes, whether I get to fit them in this year. Hopefully I will. But there we have it. Hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good day wherever you are, and I'll see you again soon. Alright, bye.